And I almost can't believe what's happening here. So this Social Security change could literally change how much recipients are getting, possibly an extra $8,100. According to this recent study, Social Security will actually a lot of changes this year. Many of them are actually tied to the biggest COLA cost of living increase in more than 40 years. Now, of course, not quite as big as the 2023 COLA increase, which was 8.7%, but the new COLA will actually impact payments for Social Security benefits. But it's not the only change that you're going to be seeing going into 2023 or going into 2024 as we close out 2023. So for anybody who's receiving Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, VA retirement benefits, veterans benefits, or any of these other fixed income benefits, you will actually be seeing some changes coming down the pipeline. Also, for those who are receiving supplemental security income, also known as SSI, the new payment amounts began December 30th, 2022. But for the 2 million grandparents in the United States tasked with a full-time job of raising their grandchildren, a potential change in Social Security regulations could very well offer substantial financial relief in the form of an additional $8,100, according to a new study that had come out earlier this week. And in addition to that, adjusting the Social Security Administration's, the SSA rules, in order to be in alignment with those of the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. And it could also gain in significant benefits for those who are listed as caregiving grandparents, according to the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College. Now, increase in Social Security disability thresholds. It is an additional change that is expected for 2023 going into 2024. You've also got SSI federal payment standards rising. Big changes, guys. And of course, in recent political twists, you've got the attention of the nation. Mike Johnson, he's recently elected as the new Speaker of the House. This was a major announcement, and it came at a very critical junction in American politics because, with a myriad of challenges and opportunities awaiting as the new speaker, he's got a lot on his plate. He's got a lot. Let's just say now is probably the worst time to be stepping into that particular position. But anyway, so as we dive into the complications, the implications of this election, and of course, the legislative priorities that are facing Congress, I also want to explore some of the fascinating dynamics going into 2024. And I would be remiss if I don't happen to mention, the latest going on with Iran, and it's a very unfortunate situation. By the way, if you guys can hear it, please drop a quick comment. Just say yes, Ron, I can hear you. Just say yes or no if you can't hear me. I would totally appreciate that. So Iran warned the United States will not be spared if Israel-Hamas war spreads. And this is a very serious situation here, guys. Millions of people are searching the term World War III in Google right now. And this literally confirms, the concern that's on people's minds right now. Abrupt changes coming, according to Tucker Carlson. Tucker has kind of, been voicing his opinion on things, and he's warning that America's on the brink of collapse. He's lashing out at Biden. Tucker Carlson also told an audience that many Americans are concerned about the end of times, the end of days, as he alluded to the U.S. economy's troubles. Kind of sounds like a biblical term to me. But anyway, so Tucker also asked the question. He said, what doesn't work? Saying that we're going to be spending $100 billion in other countries. And I get it. A lot of people are frustrated at this point. And it's not like we don't have problems here at home that need to be addressed. So I get it. I understand both sides of the game, both sides of the aisle. And according to the Pentagon, there's now been at least 19 attacks on U.S. military bases and personnel in Iraq and Syria since about 10 days now. And there were 3 new ones as of 48 hours ago. Air Force Brig General Pat Ryder said that 21 U.S. personnel were actually injured in 2 of these assaults that drones used to target al-Assad's airbase in Iraq. So the United States, Israel, Palestine, Hamas, Russia, Taiwan, Ukraine, and China, all involved in this to some extent. So my question for you guys is, are we prepared for World War III? Now, Let's just go ahead and kind of jump into things, guys. I'm gonna try to keep up with you guys. Thank you, Jen, for confirming. I appreciate you. NWN Nature Lady, I hear you. Thank you, Maria Tavares. Thank you, and you're welcome for the updates. My peep says, depending upon how you look at it, America has collapsed. Hey, so let's dive into this, guys. So, of course, there's, the announcement recently as of this week, Mike Johnson's election as the Speaker of the House. This particular decision didn't come lightly. If you guys have been keeping up with it and keeping up with my updates. So basically, it was this culmination of a very closely watched election within the House of Representatives, with, of course, the final results being in. You got Mike Johnson emerging as the victorious winner. And, so Mike Johnson, he secured majority of votes with his fellow representatives, basically cementing his position as the Speaker of the House. Now, this election, the outcome reflects the political climate and the priorities of the House members who cast their ballots in his favor. So the significance of Mike Johnson's election really holds a lot of, significance due to his reputation as a well-known ally of the former President Donald Trump. So ultimately, this alliance could very well shape the direction of the House legislative agenda, particularly on any kind of issue that's related to Trump's base. And of course, Mike Johnson's close association with Donald Trump suggests that his tenure as a speaker could also see a strong focus on conservative policies and, of course, a commitment to the former president's agenda. So as the new speaker, Mike Johnson, he's facing a multitude of very pressing issues, ranging anywhere from healthcare, Social Security, immigration, to climate change, gun control, you name it, guys. And of course, balancing the demands of a very diverse constituency is going to be no small task for this guy. You've got aggressive legislator heading into this political season. Now, with a full legislative agenda ahead, you got, Speaker Mike Johnson. He's got to navigate a very tight schedule. His ability to manage and prioritize bills is going to be very pivotal in his effectiveness as a speaker. Hopefully, he can actually stay in this role. So now, and what do you guys think about, Mike Johnson being the new House Speaker? Drop me some comments down below. The Salt Laker censorship sucks. It sure does. It sure does. Miss Missy, we as a people may not be prepared. However, USA is obviously not slacking in arms or funds, right? I don't know. What do you think? I think that we're definitely stretching ourselves thin. If we can do it, that would be pretty impressive. But I just feel like we're entering a realm of no return. Anyway, so one key area of concern for Mike Johnson regarding pending legislation is going to be Social Security reform. Social Security reform is a huge topic that it's literally been on the radar of legislature for years. And the speaker's stance on this particular issue, among many other issues, is going to be, it's going to shape the way that we see future bills coming out. And of course, as Speaker Johnson takes the helm, Congress, they're kind of hurtling toward an impending government funding deadline. Let's not forget about that. So we got Israel, Hamas, Russia, Ukraine, Taiwan, China, and of course, Social Security reform. And let's not forget about the government shutdown, which is, I think it's like 20 days away. If I'm not mistaken, I got to get my calculator out, but we're about 20 days away from a government shutdown if they can't get things in order because, of course, all Congress did recently is kick the can down the road. There was no long-term solution during the last government shutdown warning. So anyway, ultimately, a failure to pass a funding bill could result in this government shutdown in the middle of November. So mark your calendars, guys. And of course, this could easily have some very far-reaching consequences. And then, of course, we've got the threat of a government shutdown looming. We've got, this could ultimately disrupt, essential government services. I mean, think about it, right? Could affect the federal employees, could harm the economy. We don't need any of that. By the way, we got a couple hundred people in here. If you guys could do the video a favor, just drop a quick like for the video. It only takes a second. I would totally appreciate that. Also, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. So yeah, to say it lightly, the pressure is definitely on for Speaker Johnson to steer Congress toward a resolution and to avoid this particular outcome. And in addition to funding issues, Speaker Johnson will be responsible for passing various resolutions, both domestic and international. And of course, these resolutions could play a very pivotal role in shaping U.S. policy and, global relations. So let's talk Social Security reform for 2023 going into 2024 for a second, right? So obviously, Social Security reform is a fairly high stakes legislative priority for 2023, to put it lightly. And Speaker Johnson's approach to this critical issue is going to be very closely scrutinized. It's likely to impact the financial security of millions of Americans. So I would definitely say that this is something that needs to be very, very high up on his list of things to do. Mike Johnson also secured a majority of votes from his fellow representatives, kind of locking in his position. So, let's see what he does in this new role here. So, it's really wild how much is literally heading our way in terms of the United States as a country. And as a citizen here in the United States. Daryl Peoples, what is going on? Hello, Ron. Miss Missy, never seen you on live before. Nice. Well, yep, I'm live, reading through your comments. He's a MAGA Christian, according to Eldora Robinson. Buzzaroo says, I hear the new speaker is good. We'll definitely see. You're absolutely right. We will definitely see. People could talk a good game, and politicians are very good at talking a good game, but it's always about, okay, what actions are you going to do? Like, what actions are you going to take for the American people? One of my mentors back in the day once told me, it's not so much about what they say, it's all about what they do. And even with, investing, like with Warren Buffett and any other investor on that level, you got to watch what they do. They can say anything, but their actions, what they're actually doing, I hold way more value in that, because you could tell me that the sky is orange or purple, right? But here's the thing, guys. If someone says, do X, but they're doing Y, I would really question why they're doing Y and telling me to do X, if that makes any sense, right? So, when these officials try to campaign for office and they make all these different promises, one of the things that I'd definitely be looking at is, what have they done previously? Because if that is not in alignment with what they're promising that they're going to do going forward, I probably wouldn't even believe them. So anyway, we've been hearing a lot about this double taxation problem with Social Security. You've been taxed from your paychecks, which funded Social Security to begin with, and then if you live long enough to be eligible for Social Security benefits, you're then taxed when you get your benefits. So this is being seen as double taxation. And so I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's fair? Is it unfair? Do you think we should be taxed? Should the taxes be eliminated and completely, during the Social Security reform? I mean, so I personally think it's completely unfair. You've taken money from the American people. It wasn't an option to contribute to Social Security, right? So they've essentially just stolen money from our checks, because you can't opt out of it. And it's in the form of a tax. And then when you get the benefit, if you live long enough to receive the benefit, then they want to tax the fact that there are so many different people who have received letters from the Social Security Administration about having been overpaid, and now they're being threatened to pay all this money back, whether it was their fault or not. So, by the way, if you guys happen to find yourself in one of those situations where you received a letter from the Social Security Administration and you know for a fact, or at least you strongly believe that it's not your fault, definitely drop me a comment down below. Because in one of my previous videos, I actually explained what you can do to fight that and hopefully get that letter or that outstanding balance eliminated or removed so that you won't be responsible for paying for that. So anyway, drop me some comments down below if you happen to fall in that situation. And so I would just totally love to hear you guys' perspective on this whole double taxation situation. It's serious. It's serious. And then, also, what do you guys think about this whole $200 per month for the monthly increase, which is another vital aspect of, audience preferences surrounding this Social Security reform situation. $200 in monthly increases that was promised by, at the time, President Biden, right? So, because at the time he wasn't even the president yet, but it was kind of like one of those, hey, if you vote for me, I'm going to do all these different things. One of these things I'm going to do if you give me your vote is I'm going to boost your Social Security benefits by $200 a month, which is $2,400 a year. An extra $2,000 in stimulus checks. So again, I like to look at what people do versus what they say more so, and of course, Speaker Johnson, he's going to need to gauge the public sentiment on this issue and kind of factor that into a lot of his different decision making. So, there's a lot going on here. And in the coming days and weeks, obviously I'll have a lot more to share with you guys, but I wanted to just quickly give you guys a quick wrap up and let you know where we stand. We do have Halloween coming up in today's the 28th. 1, 2, 3, in 3 days. Halloween will be here. So drop me some comments, guys. What are you guys going to be for Halloween? I'm going to just be myself. My son, he's going to be he's into anime and I forget what character he's going to be. My wife is going to be, it's like some variation of Spider-Woman. So, but it's like a black and white suit. So that'll be pretty interesting. Anyway, are any of you guys going to be offering candy for kids coming by with the whole trick-or-treating, or will you be doing any trick-or-treating? Just drop me some comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys on that one. Got a lot of comments in here, guys. And by the way, please drop a like for the video. Totally appreciate that. Social Security used to probably still do garnish a collector from Social Security amount within 60 years. Yeah, that would really suck if people got their Social Security checks garnished. That would be horrible. Hello, Ron from New Jersey. Love your show and information always, from Lamont Davis. Thank you very much. Linda Sue Godbold says, action speaks louder than words. Couldn't agree more with you on that one. End of the month, get your orders in if you got them. According to Buzzaroo, I live rural and I've never had a trick-or-treater at my door. Karen Martin, I never ever thought about that. If you live in a very rural community or an area where it's kind of like you're not in a subdivision, and like let's just say you kind of like have a house that's off of a like a main road, and your neighbor's like you can't even see your neighbor, chances are you're never going to have a random trick-or-treater show up, because number one, it might just be scary pulling onto someone else's property nowadays. Never know if you ring the doorbell how you're going to be greeted. But that's an interesting one. Never even thought about that. Laquita Bartley says, you must have read my mind. I already paid my taxes while working. Exactly. So talking about the whole Social Security situation, Buzzaroo says, lead by example with integrity and wisdom. Yeah. So Rock says, I honestly don't see how they can say anyone was overpaid when they're the ones who determines what you make. They know everything about us already. Yeah, I'm with you. I hear you. I get it. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Ewan Letty, hey Ron, Social Security is so unstable with their actions. It's very sad. I know. Phil O'Brien, thanks for confirming you can hear me. My peeps, 18 years old, never had one trick-or-treater. Wow. Oh wow. Some of you guys just kind of missed out on that whole segment of growing up. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and drop off. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, drop a like for the video, consider subscribing, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Please be safe.